Alright, so I realized I had actually not recorded the beginning of this, because I'm a goober, and I was also shifting my microphone around because I'm actively modeling it while using it. So, to make this basic shape, all I really did was take a sphere, delete half of it, extrude this down. That'll give you the shape of the top of the microphone. If you duplicate this, scale it -1, and then just scale it up a tiny bit, that'll give you pretty much the bottom shape of the microphone. And just more or less extrude and scale to get that little edge and to get this little bottom face here. Okay, so the worst part about this is obviously also going to be the like the little side bits and stuff, which are actually like not as horrible as you maybe would think they are. I don't want to. You forget what you're doing entirely. Okay, so these it seems like are slightly curved, so I figure I'll just start with a sphere and do more or less the same kind of thing that I had before, which just, scale it down and then delete like half of this. And then I'm just gonna take the faces here, and actually, no, you know what I'm gonna do? Delete a little more of this. Well, it doesn't really matter, I'm just winging it. Okay, so do this, and then take the edges of this, or the faces on the side, extrude them out, and then you have more or less what resembles a little button knob. I'm going to extrude the sides of this so this thing isn't like, oops, doing bad. I'm going to grab the sides of this and just merge these to center so it's not just like a random empty floating button. And I'll duplicate that over to the other side once I am good and ready to do that. Okay, so we have a little button nub. Let's go ahead and start modeling some of whatever this bizarre shape thing is. So I think what I'm gonna do, honestly, I'm just gonna wing this like pretty aggressively. I'm gonna, actually, you know what, I have this delightful cylinder thing here already. I'm just gonna duplicate this, scale this out until I think it kind of meets like where that little button thing should be. I'm gonna add an edge loop on the top and bottom areas that I want. Click that, delete everything else. And now we have something that kind of like, again, perfectly wraps around our object. And in this instance, I think probably need to delete somewhere around these edge loops. It comes like halfway around the object, and I was like, well, I want it to hit the buttons and go a little past the buttons, so I'm going to go ahead and delete, I guess, these faces. And now I can start actually lining this up a little bit more with the side, or where I think that's supposed to go, because I'm not using reference, apparently. To really use reference, it would make things much easier. But anywho. Okay. So now that you got this, what you're gonna do is grab, there's like a flat piece that comes off the bottom, or the back of this. I'm gonna Alt-4 to hide this in my perspective view, because it drives me nuts. And I'm gonna turn on symmetry Y, and just extrude this down, and extrude this down again. And then there's like some other little curved bits that sort of come off the bottom. So I'm gonna sort of make some other little curved bits that come off the bottom. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of shaping to this because it looks pretty horrendous. Pretty extremely horrendous. It's very bad right now. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is take these, and this is supposed to be a little bit more curved in the back. Again, this is going more for process than look. I've perfectly matched the reference in this instance. What I'm gonna do is just brush these down, merge to center, and then I'm just gonna end this on a try. I don't know, some people might hate me for that, but whatever. I don't hate tries, but anywho. Alright, so just sort of make sure that that kind of lines up with the sort of shape you're trying to make, which again, would be a lot easier if you actually were using proper reference. But this appears to be sort of similar to what it's doing, except that I have not made this nearly long enough. So this is like more like the actual specs, and then it kind of comes up like, oops. Maybe it's like a little thicker, and then this like would come out more. All right, close enough. All right, so we have this shape, and then this is actually a little bit curved. So what you can do is just insert an edge loop in there, and then just sort of expand it and like push it back a little bit. That'll give you that curve sort of on the inside of this. more or less. Again, I probably should have moved the bottom part in, but screw it, I'll just move the bottom part in. Alright, so if you do something like this, it's a little bit closer to what the actual shape of that object is, and then again, you gotta move that like last weird little nub, because it's just floating around being annoying. Alright, so we have this shape. Now we basically just need like a little actual stand for this. My cat is like has a very runny nose because he has tooth issues, and he's just sniffling super grossly in the background. All right, so I'm gonna kind of make something arbitrary for a base, and we're gonna add some vague details into this, which basically for me usually means taking the top of this, make sure symmetry is turned off, extrude the center of that, pull it in, and again, just sort of extrude that up a little bit, and this actually doesn't really match the actual design on the front of this, but just kind of going for some really basic sort of, you can do a lot of sort of molding-esque effects with just scaling. All right, so go ahead, and now we have our weird base of this microphone, which is like kind of crazy looking right now. This part is not at all to scale, but you get the point, hopefully. So what we're going to do, we're just going to select this entire object since it's flat and has no volume, extrude it, push it. Apparently I'm going in, because I think that maybe looks better, and then I'm going to do mesh display reverse, so that it's not black and seeing inside out. And I'm going to turn symmetry back on, and grab this face and just squish it down, because this is, in reality, a little bit more sort of curved by that button. And then I'm able to duplicate this button. Here's my easy dumb thing for getting it across the origin. Duplicate it, put it in a group with Control-Z, and then scale it -1, and freeze the transformations. That'll get you something, that'll get you multiple objects directly on different parts of the origin. Alright, and then there's also some random buttons on this, so I'm just gonna kind of like plop them in real quick with some, I'm not gonna worry about the Blue Yeti logo. It's not hard to do, but it's worth it. Alright, so I made some random cylinders that are random cylinder shapes. And ideally, were I being a little bit more careful with this, like this one comes in a little bit more, I'd probably round the edges a little bit. You can just do that with a quick Control-B to bevel that. And then add some more segments, that'll give you a little bit more of a rounded look. And then this knob has some little details similar to these knobs and the molding, the quote-unquote molding, which I put down here, so I'm not really going to go over that. And there's also more buttons at the back, but again, buttons are pretty much buttons, so I'm not really going to spend a lot of time going over that. But here is a relatively quick Blue Yeti microphone, more or less. Missing some cables and details, but you get the point, and it is recognizable as a Blue Yeti microphone, so yay.